talk today on Senate Bill 837.
Okay, everybody direct your attention to 837. Electors for President and Vice President.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the committee. Even though this is my second year, I know that this bill has been introduced by both, as Senator Dance would say, the Cowboys and the Indians on this bill. And so my hope is that we can have bipartisan support on this bill. It's Senate Bill 837. It revises the process by which the Commonwealth's electoral votes are allocated among the slates of presidential electors. The bill provides that a voter will vote for 2 electors for the Commonwealth at large and 1 elector for the Congressional District in which he's qualified to vote. The candidates for President and Vice President receiving the highest number of votes cast statewide are allocated the 2 electoral votes for the Commonwealth at large, and then the candidates for President and Vice President receiving the highest number of votes cast in each Congressional District are allocated the 1 electoral vote for that Congressional District. Currently, the candidates for President and Vice President receiving the highest number of votes cast statewide are allocated the total number of Commonwealth's electoral votes. Let me simplify this for you. I have never, ever heard of a president that won 100% of the popular vote. Yet in Virginia and many other states, we give them 100% of the electoral college vote. Most candidates for president or vice president win somewhere between 30 to 60% of the vote. What I'm proposing is that we would split that vote, as does Maine, as does Nebraska, where it's already being done, based on a congressional district level by the popular vote, so that every constituent feels like their vote is heard, regardless of whether you're a cowboy or an Indian. We split the votes based on congressional district.
Madam Chair?
Senator Sproul.
Then if that's the case, then if you do that, then in that case, then my candidate should be president, because she beat Trump by 3 million votes. We go by popular vote. So in that case, we should do away with that. That's by the popular vote. Trump had been president in the damn way. Excuse my question. I apologize.
Senator Deeds.
And Madam Chair, that's really the
I
law.
apologize. But anyway, but if you go by the popular vote, in that case, then she should be president.
I think you hit a nerve, Senator Chase. Senator Deeds,
What
what are you going to say?
What I would encourage you, I have a notebook here which has a couple little notes in here regarding to prior elections, just so that I know you guys haven't had the time like I have to go through and do this. So this last election, as you mentioned, with President Clinton winning the popular vote, she still would have won Virginia. She would have gotten 7 out of our 13 electoral college votes. Trump would have taken away 6. If you go back to Obama's election in 2008, McCain would have had 5 electoral votes to Obama's 8. And the popular vote went to Obama with 52.62% of the vote. My whole point is this: no candidate ever wins 100% of the popular vote. So why would we have a winner-take-all system that rewards them with 100% of the electoral college vote, making some of our constituents, no matter which side you're on, feeling like their vote is not heard, their voice is not heard?
But Madam Chair,
Senator Deeds.
I mean, the flaw in that sort of thinking is that, you know, in the congressional district where I live, we have not voted Democratic since 1964. You know, my vote would never count. So not every vote would count into that plan. We may as well just pass a resolution to do away with the electoral college altogether. And
I've
that way,
actually
every vote counts.
I've actually gone by, and I'm happy to show you my data on a congressional basis, by congressional district basis, and show you the percentages based on the presidential year who would win. I guess it's just a matter of whether you want a winner-takes-all system or not, but every year somebody feels like they're disenfranchised, that their vote wasn't heard. I do support the electoral college. I do think that is important. Otherwise, if we go just based on the popular vote, then we have candidates that only cater their issues to those of the large cities. And they really, honestly, probably don't care as much about the rural parts of the district.
Madam Chairman,
Senator Edwards.
I have a question. Is yours system, there's one elector for each congressional district, so the 6th congressional district gets one, and so forth and so on? Or is it that you divide up the state into, as a whole, into 11? And so, for example, if Hillary won, say, 55 to 45, hypothetically, she would have gotten 55% of the 11 congressional districts. And, I mean, as a whole, I mean, which is it? Because it's very different. If you say each congressional district gets a vote, then the outcome would have been very different.
Right, absolutely. The way this bill specifically spells it out, I've gone based on congressional district. And the 2 extra votes, like we, as you were mentioning earlier, we have 11 congressional districts, so each of those would get 1 vote. And then you have 2 at-large votes, which go toward the popular vote. So whichever candidate wins the popular vote would get 2.
Yeah, Madam Chairman,
Senator Edwards.
the problem with each congressional district getting a vote, whoever wins that congressional district gets 1 elector, is it offends on a statewide basis, the 1 person, 1 vote concept, because the congressional districts are not divided up evenly according to the state, partly because where people live. But the only way to do it on a 1 person, 1 vote basis would be to ignore where the congressional district lines are and just simply divide the percentage into the 11, multiply the percentage of the victor by the 11 congressional districts, and that's very different than what you're doing, I think.
Right, and I appreciate those comments. I would say that the reason I went with this bill, and I can show you back the years that it was introduced, and I don't know that it's appropriate to mention the names. I'm happy to share with you later or whatever is appropriate. This bill was actually introduced all the way back as far as 2001, every year by a House Democrat, every single year, and received support. It wasn't until 2015 that Senate Republicans introduced this, which that's why I was hopeful, because I figured this is the year that we could all come together on this bill, quite honestly. So I appreciate the comments, and maybe that's something I can give consideration to. I will tell you from working for 3 different congressmen, one of those being a congressman that the lines were redrawn and he was basically districted out, that if there is, because I know one of the objections or concerns is about how congressional lines are drawn, and I will say that that is done by our elected officials, and if they suspect that they are not fair or equitable, then the judicial system comes back like they did with the 4th congressional district and redraws and allocates those lines, and thus we have lost Senator McEachin. He's now Congressman McEachin as a result of redistricting.
Senator Evans.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I got a question or 2. Senator, if we had done this in 2016, would the winner of our national popular vote have fallen further behind in the Electoral College in the result?
So, as we said before, it was President Clinton won 49.75% of the popular vote. She won 100% the Electoral College vote. Under the electoral, she still would have won. She would have won 7 of the 13.
I guess what I'm asking is nationally, if we were unilaterally to do this with Maine and Nebraska, very small states, if this would not have hurt the result if we wanted to reflect the winner of the national popular vote.
If you look at it nationally, then it's going to be 13 minus 7. Okay, so Clinton would have lost 6 electoral votes.
Okay, and Madam Chair, if I could just follow on. I would just say that why not go with the winner of the national popular vote? There's some movement, I think it's called National Popular Vote, to see that the winner of the presidential election is the person who's truly the winner of the election of the most votes. 1 person, 1 vote.
Well, I believe the popular vote is taken into account in the scenario by congressional district. Right now, it's currently winner takes all. So if your candidate none of the candidates, whether you're a cowboy or an Indian, wins 100% of the electoral vote. So what happens when the cowboys win? Then the Indians are upset because their people feel like their voice wasn't even heard or accounted for in the electoral college vote, and vice versa. My idea, like I said, more times than not, it wasn't my party that introduced this bill. And this was my way of agreeing and saying that we need to do better than a winner-take-all system, which this system is far better than the system we have now, which is winner takes all. And that people, constituents in all of our districts are always felt like that their voice doesn't matter. Somebody's always really happy or really ticked and ready to go to the popular vote.
My understanding, my impression was that our congressional districts are fairly distorted along political lines.
That is not true. If you, I guess I should say this: the courts ultimately review the congressional lines. As the system, as I mentioned earlier, Congressman Forbes used to be the congressman of the 4th Congressional District, and now the lines were changed as adjusted with the judicial system in the review, and now we have Congressman McEachin. This is very personal to me. Trust me, I used to work for Congressman Forbes. I'm very aware of redistricting and how it works.
I would just say, just because the courts haven't, just because it's constitutional to gerrymander, doesn't mean we want to gerrymander the presidential vote. And we do have distorted congressional districts in every state.
Regardless,
maybe Iowa's not in California, but
regardless, Senator Evan, the popular vote is always taken into account, whether you're looking at a congressional district or statewide. We're always looking at the popular vote.
It's just we're unilaterally doing this different than the Electoral College, and doing this just in Virginia, to me, based on our lines being
Okay,
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, I need you to go through the chair. We got to move along. Is there anybody in the audience who wishes to speak in favor of this bill? I need you to be very, very brief. Yes. You're in favor or you're against?
I'm in favor, big time.
Okay.
I've been here before.
You have spoken on this bill before when Senator Carrico carried this bill, as I recall. I remember your testimony before.
Yeah, and what it is, the West Virginia state has been disenfranchised big time, and I've talked to Democrats, I've been in other states about this issue, and as Senator Congressman Griffin said, this law, the Electoral College was set up to keep small states, to compromise, to keep a small state here, to stay the power of Virginia and New York, and want to make sure their votes would matter. And matter is a big word nowadays. And not only it protects the state, it protects the civil rights of small towns, small states, people, minorities, and everything. And we got problems in this country here, and the only way you're going to fix it, war on coal and everything. Matter of fact, I've been, if the coal-producing states had passed this, they would have been in control of the November elections. And I'm very much in favor of this. I've been in Blacksburg at meetings up here at an anti-Trump meeting. People up there said, I like it. And hey, this is the only way you're going to fix the problem in this country. Matter of fact, if the C-SPAN, I was on C-SPAN the other day, they said that this would also fix the campaign contribution thing, corruption also.
Thank you.
I hope you vote yes on this.
Thank you. Anybody else? Please be brief. Thank you.
Of course. Hope Masco of the ACLU of Virginia, and we're speaking in opposition to this bill. The ACLU has opposed the Electoral College since 1969. As it's been previously mentioned, it currently distorts the one person, one vote principle, and this legislation would further distort that and lead to less fair representation. Thank you.
Thank you.
And League of Women Voters also oppose this Electoral College, and so we would have a concern with splitting this fractional according to congressional districts.
Okay.
Madam Chair, move the report.
Okay, I'm just going to make one brief comment. Senator Chase, in the past, when Senator Carrico brought this bill, I have really strong feelings about the fact that there are huge parts of the Commonwealth of Virginia that do feel disenfranchised. And I had not supported the bill in the past because I also feel very strongly about redistricting. And I feel like that parts of the Commonwealth of Virginia are also not fairly districted. And that's always been an issue. But I do believe that there is an overriding consideration that people go vote, and at the end of the conclusion of the election, they don't get any representation in the electors. So that I will support the bill, and I will, having been moved and properly seconded, the bill is properly before us. All in favor of reporting Senate Bill 837, please vote on your screen aye, and nays, same sign.
Change your
Support your bill, correct?
I support my bill.
Okay.
The one we talked about next.
Okay, the bill fails to report 9 to 5. Thank you, Senator Chase.
Thank you.
You got one more bill.